The slap of his words hit harder than anything physical ever could. "You're not coming to the wedding, Elena. You'll embarrass me." The sentence landed between them like something alive, sharp, cold, final. Elena Brooks didn't move. She stood in the middle of their sleek Manhattan apartment, still holding the invitation in her hand. The thick ivory paper trembled slightly between her fingers, the gold lettering catching the light like it was mocking her. "Victor and Claire Harrington request the pleasure of your presence." Her name wasn't even printed there. Just his. Adrian Cole. Of course. She lifted her eyes slowly to look at her husband. "You're serious?" she asked, her voice quiet but steady. Adrian didn't hesitate. He adjusted the cuff of his tailored suit like this conversation was an inconvenience. "Very." Elena blinked once. Her chest felt tight, like something invisible was pressing down on it. "I'm your wife," she said softly. "And this," she lifted the invitation slightly, "is your boss's wedding." "Yes," Adrian replied, his tone clipped. "Exactly why I need to be careful." "Careful of what?" she asked. He finally looked at her fully, and there it was, that look she had come to know too well. Cold. Evaluating. Distant. "Of how things look," he said. Elena let out a small breath, almost like a laugh, but there was no humor in it. "How things look," she repeated. "Yes." Silence stretched between them. Then he added, almost casually, "You don't exactly fit the environment, Elena." The word stung. But she didn't react. Not outwardly. She had learned not to. "Fit?" she asked. Adrian walked past her toward the kitchen, grabbing his car keys from the counter. "It's a high-profile event. Executives, investors, people who matter," he said. "Their wives," he paused, glancing at her briefly, "carry themselves differently." Something inside her twisted. "And I don't?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer immediately. That hesitation was worse than anything he could have said. "You try," he said finally. "But it's not the same." "Not the same." Elena lowered the invitation slowly. 5 years. 5 years of marriage. And this was what she had become to him. Not the same. She swallowed. "I could try harder," she said, hating how small her voice sounded. "I could get something new to wear. Maya could help me." Elena. Her name came out sharper this time. Firm. Final. "No." The room went still. "You're not coming," he said again. "Let's not turn this into something dramatic." Her fingers tightened around the invitation. Dramatic. Of course. Because being told you were an embarrassment to your own husband was normal. "I just thought," she started, then stopped. "Thought what?" That he still loved her? That he still saw her? That somewhere underneath all this, there was still the man she married? She shook her head slightly. "It's fine," she said quickly. "I understand." Adrian nodded, relieved. "Good." He checked his watch. "I have a late meeting. Don't wait up." And just like that, he was gone. The door clicked shut behind him. Elena stood there for a long time. The silence in the apartment felt louder than any argument. She looked down at the invitation again. Then slowly, she walked to the kitchen and placed it on the counter. Carefully, like it might break. Her reflection stared back at her from the polished surface. She looked tired. Not ugly. Not embarrassing. Just tired. Her phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it. Maya Yellowheart. Elena hesitated. Then she answered. "Hey," she said. "Hey, that's it." Maya's voice came through, bright but immediately suspicious. "You sound like someone just told you your dog died." Elena let out a weak laugh. "Something like that." "What happened?" She hesitated again. The words felt heavy in her chest. Then they spilled out. "He doesn't want me at the wedding." Silence. Then, "What?" Maya's tone dropped instantly. "He said I'd embarrass him," Elena added, her voice quieter now. Another silence. This one sharper. "Say that again," Maya said slowly. Elena closed her eyes. "He said, I don't fit in. That I'd embarrass him in front of his colleagues." There was a loud exhale on the other end. "Okay," Maya said. "I need a second because I'm trying very hard not to get in my car and drive over there right now." Elena smiled faintly despite herself. "It's not that big of a deal," she said automatically. Yes, it is. No, it's just. Elena. Maya's voice cut through her. Stop. Elena went quiet. You've been doing this for years, Maya continued. Minimizing everything he does to you like it's normal. Like it's okay. Elena leaned against the counter. It's not like that, she said softly. Then what is it like? Maya asked. Elena opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Because she didn't know anymore. Maya's voice softened slightly. Then what is it like? Maya asked. Elena opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Because she didn't know anymore. Maya's voice softened slightly. When was the last time he made you feel good about yourself? Elena's throat tightened. She thought about it. Really thought. A memory surfaced. Adrian laughing with her in their old apartment. Telling her she looked beautiful in one of her oversized sweaters. Kissing her forehead while she cooked. That was years ago. I don't know, she admitted. Exactly, Maya said gently. Elena stared at her reflection again. I thought this would be different, she whispered. It's his boss's wedding. I thought maybe he'd be proud to have you there? Maya finished. Elena didn't answer. That's the problem, Maya said. You're still waiting for him to treat you like you matter. The words hit deep. Too deep. Elena felt her eyes sting. I do matter, she said weakly. Then why doesn't he act like it? Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Maya took a breath. Listen to me, she said. You are not the problem here. Elena shook her head slightly. He says I've changed, she whispered. That I don't try anymore. Elena, you've been trying so hard you forgot who you are. That hurt. Because it was true. She looked at herself again. And for the first time in a long time, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. I don't even know what I'd wear, she said quietly, almost to herself. Why does that matter? Maya asked. Because Elena hesitated. Because maybe he's right. Maya went very still. Don't, she said. Maybe I don't fit in that world. Elena. Her name came out firm. You supported that man when he had nothing. Elena's chest tightened. You worked double shifts so he could finish grad school, Maya continued. You paid bills. You sacrificed everything. Elena swallowed hard. And now he's telling you that you're not good enough to stand next to him? Maya's voice sharpened. Absolutely not. Tears slipped down Elena's cheeks. She wiped them quickly. I just don't want to fight anymore, she whispered. Maya's tone softened again. Then don't fight him, she said. Elena frowned slightly. What do you mean? There was a pause. Then Maya said something that made Elena's heart skip. Go to the wedding anyway. Elena froze. What? You heard me. I can't do that, she said immediately. He'll be furious. And? Maya shot back. He's already disrespecting you. Elena's heart started racing. I wasn't invited, she said. Maya laughed lightly. You're his wife. That's your invitation. Elena shook her head. No, I can't. But something inside her shifted. Just slightly. What are you afraid of? Maya asked. Elena opened her mouth. Then closed it. Because she knew the answer. Not the crowd. Not the event. Not the judgment. She was afraid of Adrian. Afraid of disappointing him. Afraid of proving him right. Maya's voice softened. You're not embarrassing, Elena. A tear rolled down her cheek. You've just been standing next to the wrong person. Elena looked at her reflection again. Really looked this time. And for the first time in years. She didn't see someone ugly. She saw someone lost. Her grip on the counter tightened slightly. When is the wedding? Maya asked. Elena hesitated. Saturday. Good, Maya said. Elena frowned. Good. Yeah, Maya replied, her tone shifting into something determined. Because we have 3 days. Elena's heart skipped. For what? Maya smiled through the phone. To remind you exactly who you are. Elena didn't realize it yet. But everything was about to change. Saturday came faster than Elena expected. Too fast. The morning light slipped through the curtains of her apartment, soft and golden, but it did nothing to calm the storm inside her chest. She hadn't slept properly. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard Adrian's voice again. You'll embarrass me. The words replayed like a loop she couldn't shut off. Elena sat at the edge of the bed, staring at her hands. They were steady, but she didn't feel steady. Her phone buzzed. Maya Yellowheart. She picked it up. "I'm outside," Maya said immediately. "Open the door." Elena blinked. "What?" "Now." "Yes, now. Don't overthink it." Before Elena could respond, the call ended. A minute later, the doorbell rang. Elena stood slowly and walked to the door. When she opened it, Maya walked in like a storm, energy, confidence, purpose. She took one look at Elena and stopped. "Oh no," Maya said softly. Elena frowned slightly. "What?" "You're still doubting yourself." Elena looked away. "I'm not." "Elena." That one word was enough. Elena sighed. "I don't know if I can do this," she admitted quietly. Maya stepped closer. "Good," she said. Elena blinked. "Good. Yes. Because courage isn't about not being scared. It's about doing it anyway." Elena let out a small breath. Maya grabbed her hand. "Come on," she said. "We don't have time for this version of you today." 2 hours later, Elena stood in front of a mirror in Maya's apartment. And she didn't recognize herself. Her hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, styled simply but elegantly. Her makeup was light, just enough to highlight her features, not hide them. And the dress. It was deep emerald green. Sleek. Fitted. Effortless. Not loud. Not flashy. But powerful. Elena's fingers brushed over the fabric. "It's too much," she whispered. Maya, standing behind her, raised an eyebrow. "It's not enough, actually. But we'll start here." Elena let out a nervous laugh. "I look like I'm trying too hard." "No," Maya said firmly. "You look like someone who finally stopped trying to be invisible." That hit. Elena stared at her reflection. Her heart pounded. "What if he's right?" she asked softly. Maya crossed her arms. "About what?" "That I don't belong there." Maya walked up beside her. "Let me ask you something," she said. "Who decides where you belong?" Elena hesitated. Maya didn't wait for an answer. "You do." Silence. "He doesn't get to define your worth," Maya continued. "Not after everything you've done for him." Elena swallowed. "I'm not doing this for him," she said quietly. Maya smiled slightly. "Good." Elena took a deep breath. "I'm doing this for me. And for the first time." She meant it. The Harrington wedding was everything Elena expected. And more. The venue sat on the edge of Manhattan, overlooking the skyline. Glass walls, chandeliers, polished marble floors, everything screamed wealth and perfection. Luxury cars lined the entrance. Guests stepped out in designer gowns and tailored suits, laughter and conversation floating in the air. Elena stood outside the venue for a moment, her heart racing. This was his world, not hers. Or at least, that's what she had always believed. "You ready?" Maya asked beside her. Elena didn't answer immediately. She looked at the entrance, then at the people, then down at herself. Her fingers tightened slightly around her clutch. Then she nodded. "Yeah," she said softly. Maya smiled. "That's my girl." Inside, Adrian Cole stood near the bar, a glass of champagne in his hand. He looked exactly like he belonged. Confident. Polished. Controlled. He laughed at something one of his colleagues said, his posture relaxed, his expression easy. This was the version of him the world saw. Not the one Elena knew. "Adrian," a voice called. He turned. Victor Harrington stood a few feet away, speaking with a small group. Adrian straightened slightly. "Excuse me," he said to his colleagues before walking over. "Mr. Harrington," Adrian greeted with a respectful nod. Victor smiled. "Adrian, glad you could make it." "Of course," Adrian replied smoothly. "Wouldn't miss it." Victor glanced around briefly. "Your wife didn't come?" Adrian didn't hesitate. "She wasn't feeling well." The lie came easily. Too easily. Victor nodded, but something in his expression shifted, subtle, almost unreadable. "That's a shame," he said. Claire was hoping to meet her. Adrian forced a small smile. "I'll pass along the message." Victor gave him a look, one that lingered just a second too long. Then he nodded and turned back to his conversation. Adrian exhaled quietly. "Hey, one of his coworkers said, stepping beside him. You sure she's not coming? Adrian took a sip of his drink. Yeah, the coworker shrugged. Probably for the best. This crowd can be intense. Adrian nodded. Exactly. But something about the conversation left a strange feeling in his chest. He ignored it. Outside, Elena stepped out of the car. The city lights reflected off the glass building in front of her, making everything feel almost unreal. For a second, she almost turned back. Then Maya touched her arm. Hey, she said softly. Look at me. Elena did. You don't need his permission to exist in that room, Maya said. Elena nodded slowly. I know. Say it like you mean it. Elena took a breath. I don't need his permission. Maya smiled. Now go show them who you are. Elena turned toward the entrance. Her heels clicked softly against the pavement as she walked forward. Each step felt heavier than the last. But she didn't stop. Inside, the reception was in full swing. Music played softly. Laughter filled the air. Conversations overlapped. Then, the doors opened. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it was enough. A few heads turned. Then a few more. Then, silence. It spread slowly, like a ripple through the room. Elena stepped inside. And suddenly, everyone was looking at her. She felt it instantly. The shift. The attention. The curiosity. Her heart pounded so hard she was sure someone could hear it. But she didn't falter. She kept walking. Calm. Composed. Even if she didn't feel it completely yet. Whispers started. Who is she? She's gorgeous. Do you know her? Elena kept her eyes forward. Then, a woman stepped toward her. Elegant. Graceful. Warm. Hi, she said with a smile. I don't think we've met. Elena paused. No, I don't think so. I'm Claire Harrington. Elena's breath caught slightly. The bride. Hi, Elena said, recovering quickly. I'm Elena Brooks. Claire's eyes lit up. Well, Elena, you look absolutely stunning. The compliment was genuine. No hidden meaning. No judgment. Just kindness. And it hit Elena harder than anything else that night. Thank you, she said softly. Claire smiled. I'm glad you came. Elena nodded. So am I. Across the room, Adrian laughed at something someone said. Then his eyes lifted and landed on her. Everything stopped. The smile on his face disappeared instantly. His body went still. For a moment, he looked like he couldn't breathe. Elena met his gaze. And this time, she didn't look away. His shock turned into something else. Anger. Confusion. Panic. He set his glass down immediately and started walking toward her. Fast. Elena, he said under his breath when he reached her side. What are you doing here? His voice was tight. Controlled. But she could hear the tension underneath. Elena turned to face him fully. I'm attending a wedding, she said calmly. His jaw tightened. I told you not to come. She tilted her head slightly. I remember. Then why are you here? Because for once, she chose herself. I wanted to be, she said simply. His eyes scanned her quickly. The dress. The hair. The confidence. It didn't match the image he had of her anymore. You need to leave, he said quietly, forcing a smile for anyone watching. Elena's expression didn't change. No. That one word caught him off guard. No, he repeated. She held his gaze. No. And just like that, everything began to shift. For a moment, Adrian just stared at her like he didn't recognize who was standing in front of him. Not because of the dress. Not because of the way heads were still turning in her direction. But because of the way she said no. Elena had never said no to him like that before. Don't do this, he muttered under his breath, his smile still fixed for the people watching. Not here. Elena's lips curved slightly, but there was no softness in it. You didn't mind doing things not here, when it was just me on the receiving end, she replied quietly. Adrian's eyes flashed. That's different. How? She asked calmly. He glanced around quickly. A few people nearby were definitely paying attention now, pretending not to, but listening. His voice dropped lower. You're making a scene. Elena let out a soft breath. No, she said. You're just not used to losing control. That landed hard. Adrian's fingers curled slightly at his sides. You don't understand how this works, he said. This environment, these people. These people? Elena echoed. Her gaze flicked briefly around the room, the polished guests, the expensive gowns, the confident laughter. Then she looked back at him. They're just people, Adrian. He shook his head, frustration building. You don't belong here. There it was. The same line. Different words. Same meaning. But this time, it didn't break her. Elena took a small step closer, her voice calm but firm. Say that again, she said. Adrian blinked. What? Say it again, she repeated. Tell me I don't belong here. He hesitated. Just for a second. Because now people were definitely watching. And suddenly, the sentence didn't sound as good out loud. Elena noticed. And something inside her settled. You can't even say it now, can you? She said quietly. Adrian's jaw tightened. This isn't the time. It was the time when you said it to me at home, she cut in. When no one was around. When it was easy. Silence pressed in around them. A couple standing nearby stopped pretending entirely. They were listening. Elena's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. For 5 years, she said, I tried to be everything you wanted. Adrian looked away briefly, then back at her. You're exaggerating. I'm remembering, she corrected. Her fingers tightened slightly around her clutch, but her posture stayed steady. I changed how I dressed, she continued. I changed how I spoke. I second-guessed everything about myself just to fit into your world. Adrian let out a short breath. You're acting like I forced you. You didn't have to force me, she said. You made me feel like I had to. That hit deeper than anything else. Because it was true. Adrian's expression flickered. You're twisting things, he said again, but this time it sounded weaker. Elena shook her head slowly. No, she said. I've been untwisting them. A quiet voice spoke up behind them. She's right, you know. They both turned. It was Claire. The bride stood a few steps away, her expression calm but firm. I heard enough, she said gently. Adrian stiffened. Claire, this isn't. Actually, she said, cutting him off politely, it is. The room felt even quieter now. Claire stepped closer to Elena. I meant what I said earlier, she added. You look stunning. But more than that, you carry yourself with a kind of confidence that can't be faked. Elena blinked, caught off guard. Thank you, she said softly. Claire smiled, then turned her gaze to Adrian. And if you can't see that, she said calmly, then that says more about you than it does about her. That was it. The shift. Subtle, but undeniable. Adrian felt it. The way the room tilted slightly, not physically, but socially. Eyes that once looked at him with admiration now held something else. Judgment. He swallowed. This is being blown out of proportion, he said, trying to regain control. No, Elena said quietly. It's finally being seen clearly. He turned back to her, frustration breaking through fully now. What do you want from me? He asked. Elena didn't hesitate. Nothing. That answer confused him more than anything else. What? I don't want anything from you anymore, she said. The finality in her voice made something in his chest tighten. You don't mean that. I do. You're just upset. I'm done, she said. The words were simple, but they landed like a door slamming shut. Adrian stared at her. No, he said, shaking his head. You don't get to just decide that. Elena tilted her head slightly. I don't, she asked. We're married, he snapped. You can't just walk away because you feel like it. Elena's expression softened slightly. Not with love, but with clarity. I'm not walking away because I feel like it, she said. I'm walking away because I finally see things for what they are. Adrian opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Because deep down, he knew she wasn't wrong. Elena took a slow breath. For years, I thought something was wrong with me, she admitted. I thought if I just tried harder, looked better, acted differently, you would go back to who you used to be. Her eyes held his. But you didn't change, she said. You just got comfortable showing who you really are. That one cut deep. Adrian's face tightened. That's not fair. It's the truth. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. Elena stepped back, creating space between them. I'll have my things out by the end of the week, she said calmly. Adrian's head snapped up. What? I'm leaving. The words echoed in his mind. You're serious, he said slowly. I've never been more serious. A flicker of something real crossed his face then. Not anger. Not control. Fear. You're throwing everything away, he said. Elena shook her head. No, she replied. I'm finally choosing myself. That was the moment it ended. Not with shouting. Not with drama. But with truth. Elena turned. Maya was already watching from across the room, her expression soft but proud. Ready? She asked as Elena reached her. Elena nodded. Yeah. They walked toward the exit together. This time, Elena didn't feel the weight she had carried for years. It was gone. Left behind in that room. Behind her, whispers started to rise again. But this time, they weren't about her. They were about Adrian. About what people had just witnessed. About the cracks in the image he had worked so hard to maintain. And he knew it. He stood there alone, feeling the shift he could no longer control. Outside, the night air was cool against Elena's skin. She took a deep breath. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like she could breathe. Hey, Maya said gently. Talk to me. Elena smiled faintly. I thought I would feel worse, she admitted. And? Elena looked up at the city lights. I feel free. Maya grinned. Good. Because that's exactly what you are. Elena let out a soft laugh. Free, she repeated. And this time, it felt real. As they walked away from the venue, leaving behind the version of her life that had been shrinking her, Elena realized something important. She had never been too much. She had never been not enough. She had simply been with someone who couldn't see her worth. And now, she didn't need him to, because she finally saw it herself. A week later, the apartment felt different. Quieter, but not empty. Elena stood in the middle of the living room, looking at the space that had once held so much tension. Boxes were stacked neatly by the door, her things packed, her life reduced to what she truly needed. Not much. And somehow, that felt right. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Maya Yellowheart. Elena smiled slightly before picking up. Hey. So, Maya's voice came through, bright and curious. Are you officially out? Elena looked around one more time. Yeah, she said softly. I'm done. There was a pause. Then, I'm proud of you. Elena leaned against the counter, exhaling slowly. It still feels unreal. That's normal, Maya said. You just walked away from something that defined your life for years. Elena nodded, even though Maya couldn't see her. I thought it would hurt more, she admitted. And does it? Elena thought about it. There was no sharp pain. No overwhelming sadness. Just space. It's not pain, she said finally. It's clarity. Maya chuckled softly. That's even better.